first thing I'd like to say is that the People's Caucus is an independent nominating body, civic organization that seeks to educate and encourage qualified candidates to run for village office and provide public service. And any resident of the village who is eligible to vote, resident for 30 days or more, who is eligible to vote is automatically a member of the caucus and is entitled to vote at any of the meetings. They're also entitled to nominate a candidate for office, either the local elected offices or the executive committee of the caucus. And that includes nominating themselves if they so choose. So with that, I'd like to thank the school district for making the facilities available to us, and mention that if you turn around, you'll see that we're recording this meeting, and it will be broadcast on Cablevision, Channel 15. Once again, we were not successful in coordinating with FiOS to get it broadcast on FiOS, but we'll keep working on that year after year, and Mr. Zegarelli has promised to help with that in the future. And the broadcast dates are on a handout sheet in the back of the room. I'll just briefly read them for you. Saturday, January 11th at 3:30. Sunday, January 12th at 1 p.m. Monday, January 13th at 5:30. And Tuesday, January 14th at 11. The second meeting, Meet the Candidates debate, will also be broadcast, and that's on the sheet as well. At this point, I'd like to introduce the other members of the Executive Committee of the Caucus, and I'll do it from left to right. Our newest member, Hannah Berkowitz, who has been appointed as member at large, replacing Elaine Hayda. On her left is Toby Clarnett, who's our secretary and does all of our graphics work with respect to the website and advertisements. Next to Toby is Louis Linder, who's our treasurer. He's our money man. And next to Louis is our vice chair, Brian Zerman, who you probably all know from the rec department and other activities, and his wife, Rory, who's involved in the court offices in the village. And of course, I'm Aaron Stern, chair of the caucus. We do have virtually the entire board from the village here today, if my eyesight's correct. Our retiring candidate, though, retiring village trustee, does not appear to be here tonight. At this point, we will read the minutes of the January 9th, 2013 nominating meeting and January 16th, 2013 Meet the Candidates meeting, unless someone would like to make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes. Do I have such a motion? Thank you. A second? Second. Thank you. So we will dispense with that, Toby.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn the mic over to Louis as our treasurer to read treasurer's report.
Okay, I'll stay here. Yeah, that's fine. I have a mic. I'm going to briefly take you through the highlights of the treasurer's report. We have treasurer's reports from every meeting that we have had, which is the detail behind this. There are copies of this in the back. You can pick it up to see the mid-level detail. This goes from January 2013 through December 2014, which includes the second page, which is the estimated budget. So we started out with an opening balance in January of 2013 of $622.39. The expenses accrued, which are broken out on this page, came to a subtotal of $3,967.99. Our revenues, which was a combination of cash and checks. We received quite a few checks in the mail. Thank you very much. And I believe Michael Stern's passing the hat for more cash now, for a total of $4,637.82. So if you do the math here, we are left with an ending balance in the bank at Citibank in our bank account of $1,292.22. Are there any questions or issues? Yes, hi.
Do we pay charges on our accounts at Citibank?
No, those are waived. I checked that out because there was an entry for $19 and I questioned them and they said, no, it's waived. So it's taken off every other month. Good question. Anything else? Okay.
Louis, would you also briefly summarize this year's budget so everybody gets a sense of why we still pass the hat?
Yes. So if you go to page 2, you're looking at a projected budget which is contains all the various services we provide through the video, through the poll roster books that are important for the voting process, printing and mailing of flyers, post office, participation in several events in the community, the Harvest Fair, the Community Day. We have a website. We are getting another website address so that nobody gets confused and goes to the wrong one. And we have other media and advertising in local media, one of which is here tonight, I see. We also are projecting a student intern for this coming year, which would be someone, Aaron has been talking to Mr. Cation, our new superintendent of schools, about a position on the executive committee of the caucus to assist us in things like website development and to learn the governmental process from the bottom up. And we would like to fund that for about $500 to make it worth their while. Plus, they would get credit for community service. So the total of that is $4,900, or let's say $5,000, which is our fundraising target for the coming fiscal year.
I'm just going to add a little bit to that. The caucus has been working diligently to try and increase or re-energize our community, and doing so, we've participated in sponsoring Community Day events with the village and jointly with the Chamber of Commerce. And I know the Chamber has started discussions with the village on possibly moving Community Day and Harvest together to avoid some of the disruptions that have occurred. So we intend to continue to participate in that. We also, just to, Louis probably didn't even know this yet, but Lady Sarah contacted me to correct the fact that we were talking with the district in Briarcliff about an intern, and we believe that the district will provide community service credits to a student who will step up to do that, and mentioned that we have about a third of our village that attends the schools in Ossining. And I have made contact with Superintendent Sanchez, and we're going to make the same offer to the Ossining districts to have a student work with us, trying to put together a program that will be accepted. Mr. Malik? That would mean 2 students. No, 500 for the 2 students. And one of the things we're exploring is whether or not that can be done as a scholarship, so that if we have 2 seniors, it can be made as an award to them and they won't feel like they're not doing this for community service.
Who gets the money, the school district?
No, that would be the student itself. Again, we're looking into whether we can do this as a scholarship that would be awarded to them for participating in this community service project. So, but thank you for the question. At this point, I'd like to just briefly announce the protocol that we're going to use to open the nominations for the 2 village trustee offices that are up for election. A nomination will be made by someone from the audience, and they'll be given an opportunity to make a brief introductory statement. Hopefully, we'll limit it to 3 minutes. A second will be made. Once the second is made, I will call on the nominee to introduce themselves and make a brief statement about why they're seeking office, and then we will move on to taking additional nominations. So let's start that. May I have a motion to open the nominations for village trustee? And a second, please? Please?
Don't we nominate candidates for the executive committee first?
We have done that in the past, but when I reviewed the charter and bylaws again today, it actually states the other order should be followed. So I changed our minutes. I changed our agenda to reflect that. So, but thank you. And that's a much better memory than I had as well. So we had a second on that? Thank you. And are there any nominations for the position of village trustee? Pete?
My name is Pete Francis. I live at 26 Jackson Road, and I've been a village resident for about 16 years. I'd like to nominate Mark Pohar for the position of village trustee.
Do we have a second to that nomination? Thank you. What's your first name? Shannon, was it? Shannon. Thank you.
Mark is currently a sitting member of the village board. He's running for re-election. Prior to that, he served on the village ethics committee, and he was also a member of this very fine People's Caucus we have here. And quite frankly, there's not a lot of people in this town with the number of years and the wide-ranging experience that Mark has, and that still want to be involved. So I hope you'll join me in supporting Mark and support his nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Mark, would you like to come up and make a brief statement? Under 5 minutes, please.
Don't worry. 30 seconds.
Okay.
Everybody's busy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Pete and Shannon. Good evening, and thank you for welcoming me tonight, members of the People's Executive Committee. My name is Mark Pohar, and I stand before you tonight honored and humbled to have been nominated for trustee for the Village of Briarcliff Manor, New York. I have been a trustee in the village for the past 2 years and have thoroughly enjoyed working with such a distinguished board. Mayor Bill Vesio, Deputy Mayor Lori Sullivan, and trustees Bob Murray and Mark Wilson. We have been supported by a true gentleman whose knowledge is respected and appreciated. That's our manager, Phil Zigarelli. Our board has worked diligently and tirelessly to uphold the standards and quality lifestyles of the Village of Briarcliff Manor. And our goal of the board is to work for the residents of our village. I would be honored to continue to serve the residents, working on projects which are currently in progress to see them to completion, and serve the village in future projects to enhance the quality of life for our residents and families. Once again, thank you for your nomination and support.
Are there any other nominations? May I recognize Mr. DeRose? Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chazar DeRose Sr. I live at 26 Poplar Road, and I'd like to nominate my son, Chazar DeRose Jr., for the position.
Do we have a second for that nomination? Thank you.
Thank you. It's been my privilege to be a member of the fire department, Boy Scouts, and many other civic groups in Briarcliff Manor, and we hoped that our family could give back to the village in some other ways. And my son, Chazar, has been an Eagle Scout in Troop 18 here in Briarcliff. He's played sports here in the village, and now he has started a business with his brother in the village. So he's deep rooted. He lives at 333 North State Road, and he has my little granddaughter that he has to take care of now too. So it's a big responsibility. So I'm very privileged and honored to nominate my son. Thank you.
And do we have any other nominations? Paul? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I made that same mistake last year, but one of these days I'll get it right. Chazar, would you like to come up? Sure. I didn't mean to rush you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on such a cold evening. First off, I'd like to thank the executive committee, the chair, Mr. Stern, my family, again, everyone for coming out this evening. As my father had mentioned, I've grown up here in Briarcliff. I attended Briarcliff High School. I attended Pace University here in Pleasantville. You may recognize me if you're wondering where you know my face from. It's from the Briarcliff hardware store. I've managed the hardware store in town for several years. I've started another business along the same lines in building materials, supplies. here in Briarcliff. And I live, as my father said, in Copley Court. I have a wife, Carrie, who's also from Briarcliff, raising my daughter here. She's going to attend Briarcliff schools. So that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to become part of the caucus is, as I said, I'm a longtime resident. I've been involved with the Boy Scouts and associate member of the fire department, so community service is not new to me. Just always am looking for a way if I can, get involved and help out. So that being said, I'd like to ask for your support in the nomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cesar, and it's good to have one of the younger members of our community step up for this option. Do we have any other nominations? Paul, thank you.
Hi, I'm Paul Wasserman, and I'm privileged to nominate Larissa Palmino for village trustee. First of all, I want to thank everybody who's stepping up to run today. As someone who's run in one or two more elections than I probably should have, I know this is something great that you're doing to volunteer and put yourself out there in front of everyone, and it's great to volunteer for community service. I've known Larissa for about 10 or 15 years. She's a civil engineer, background in civil engineer, and she's worked in the New York City Department of Environmental Protection for about 5 years, and New York City Department of Parks for about 30 years. She has a background obviously in civil engineering. We've known each other for, as I said, for about 10 years. She's always been interested in what's going on in the community. I had the privilege of working with Larissa when we had the Briarcliff School District had an ad hoc facilities committee, and we looked into we were on the Fields Committee, which concerned ourselves with building the fields. And I have to say, she was, when no one else was talking about it, she said that if you know what a turf field looks like, there's this little stuff that bounces up and down from it. And she said that you really have to, there's a better way of doing it, a way that's been believed to be a lot safer for the children. She was the only one who talked about it. And sure enough, in the end, that's the kind of fill that we got for the turf field for the kids. I think she would be a great addition to the village board, and I'm honored to nominate Larissa.
Thank you, Paul. And now I'm going to correct my second error. Do I have a second for that nomination? Mr. Austin, thank you very much. Are there any other nominations? Larissa, would you please come up and let me stop embarrassing myself? I need a teleprompter.
Good evening. My name is Larissa Wayne Palmino. Thank you, Paul, for your nominating, and thank you to the Village Caucus for this unbiased process. I'm honored. I moved to Briarcliff Manor from Manhattan in 1995 with my husband and 2 children. My kids enjoyed excellent schools, social and athletic events in Briarcliff Manor, and my husband and I enjoyed the bucolic settings and proximity to the city. Briarcliff is ideal for raising family as well now. My husband Bill is a Marine veteran, and he's an adjutant at the Briarcliff Manor Post for the American Legion. My son Andrew graduated with honors from United States Naval Academy in Annapolis. My daughter Natalie is a sophomore at the University of Maryland. She's at the Scholars Program there, and as we're speaking, she's in Honduras building a school for the underprivileged children there. So as you can see, giving back to the community, getting involved with public services, an important value in my family. My professional experience is in civil engineering, as Paul noted. I graduated from Kuybyshев Moscow Civil Engineering Institute with Master's of Science degree in Civil Engineering. And I have 34 years of experience in design and construction. I worked in design for 5 years for Department of Environmental Protection, which is where I met my husband. And I worked for 30 years in construction management for Parks Department. As an associate project manager, my professional experience included planning and coordinating design and construction management of large capital projects. Design and construction of this project involved borough meetings, community board meetings, art commission review board meetings, and intra-agency coordination. I had to review contract documents for omission and conflicts prior to construction, scheduled progress meetings and with designers, contractors, subcontractors, and consultants. I had to resolve unanticipated contract issues. There was many site visits to ensure contract compliance with contract documents and monitor job progress. Contract administration involved review process payments, change orders, and time extension, etc. I had to consult with designers to facilitate revisions due to field conditions or design omissions and recommend solutions of highly complex nature. As I mentioned before, I had to interact with community boards to maintain good public relations, prepare requests for additional funding for work which was outside contract limits, and basically see the job through to the end, to completion, which involved progress and final and guarantee inspections and punch list completion. One of my last projects was reconstructing of a landfill area into greenways. This was along the existing wetlands, and the work included 5 miles of bikeways, fiberglass decking, and extensive native landscaping. I had to get a certification of complete training to deal with environmental compliance program in order to work with DEC. With DEC stands for Department of Environmental Conservation. This landed me on ad hoc facilities committee, and prior to the construction of the football fields at the Briarcliff High School and Middle School, which is where I met Paul, and I was happy to share my engineering experience with many other residents working on that committee. Since I retired 3 years ago, I've been wanting to give back to the community and get involved in community service. Currently, I'm serving on board of directors for the Briarcliff Manor and Scarborough Historical Society and carrying committee for CSI, which is Congregation of Sons of Israel. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Vesio, Mr. Zigarelli, and the village trustees who have done an exemplary job at maintaining a high quality of life while keeping our taxes at bay. I would enjoy being able to participate and help in any way I can to make our beautiful village even more comfortable, functional, and hospitable to all our residents. Thank you very much. I ask for your support.
Larissa, thank you very much. At this point, do we have any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the nominations. Do I have one? Mark, thank you. And a second? Thank you, Ken. Next order of business is to describe for you the next steps in this process. Next Wednesday, we will hold a Meet the Candidates meeting, and this year, since it will be a contested election, we will do this in a debate format. We will ask for questions from the audience and from the executive committee. Each nominee will be given a 3-minute period to answer the questions and a 1.5-minute period to respond to the other nominees after they've made a brief introduction of themselves. And they'll be given an opportunity for a closing summary. This is part of the process by which the caucus facilitates getting people's name out into the community and helping them gain some recognition. We videotape and rebroadcast and post the videos on our websites. So hopefully that's part of the process that's working best. At that meeting, I'll also ask for volunteers to assist in gaining signatures on nominating petitions. The state law requires that independent village nominating petitions from a village of our size have at least 100 signatures. We always gather at least 150 so that they can withstand the inevitable challenges that may exist from residents not being registered to vote, or putting down a wrong address, or writing their name illegibly, or items of that nature. So that's one of the processes by which the caucus supports its candidates. Then, following that process, we will have a special voting meeting, which is scheduled for the following Wednesday, that's January 22nd. And that will take place at the Village Youth Center. It will run from 3 to 9. There will be paper ballots used again this year, and the results of that will be reported. And then the candidates who have received the most votes, 3 candidates, 2 positions, will become and receive the caucus's endorsement and will appear on the ballot on the March 18th election on the caucus line. Do we have any other business items?
Question, there'll be absentee ballots?
Yes, I'm sorry, thank you for that. There will be absentee ballots. They will be handed out. They will be available after the nominating meeting. They will be on our website, or anybody can contact a member of the executive committee of the caucus, and we will arrange to get it to you. Any other business? Any other questions? May I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting? I changed the order. You know, maybe I didn't want to do it again. No, sorry. Do we have any nominations? No, a motion to open the nominations for executive committee. Thank you. Thank you for the second. Do we have any nominations for the executive? Mr. Austin, thank you.
I'd like to nominate the following individuals for the caucus executive committee. Aaron Stern, chair, Hannah Berkowitz, vice chair, Louis Linder, treasurer, and Toby Clarnett, secretary.
Thank you. Very nice. And I'm glad you nominated me, even with all the mistakes I make. Do we have a second for that nomination? Mr. Malik, thank you very much. Now I guess we're at the stage where I can ask for a motion to adjourn. Do I have such a motion?
Before we adjourn, I wanted to just ask everybody to sign in and put their email addresses down so we could keep you informed of different activities of the People's Caucus.
Thank you. We're a team. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you very much, Rachel. And a second from Mr. DeRose. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out on this cold night. And we hope to see you again next Wednesday. Same time, same place.